Today I'm going to show you how to create a square spiral free motion quilting design. As you can see, I've got two different colors of pens and a piece of paper which I've taped down to my table. I like to practice free motion quilting designs with pen and paper first. That helps me remember how the design goes or try out a new design, but it also helps me get the rhythm of the design into my hands, into my eyes, into my head before I go to the sewing machine and start stitching. And this way, by practicing, I know where my lines are going to go next and how this design should flow together. So I've got my purple pen to start with. And for a square spiral, just like any type of spiral, we're going to work from the outside in, and then we want to leave enough room to work our way back out from the center. So by starting with my purple pen, just here at the top, I'm going to make a bit of a box shape. So you can see the start of my spiral, and I've left enough space between the lines so that I can work my thread and my stitching right back out again. I'm going to switch to a pink pen so that the color can help you see how I've worked my way back out. And I'm just going to echo my lines from before, keep them even, centered, until I work my way back out of the spiral. Now from here, I'm just going to follow down the edge of my box to begin with, and now I'm ready to start the next spiral. You may find that your corners are nice and sharp and pointed. You might find that they're a little bit rounded. I find everybody's free motion designs have their own variation to go with them, and that's the great part about it. It's kind of like handwriting. It's pretty unique to each person. So I've worked my way into the center here in pink. I'm going to switch back to purple, echo my lines, and work my way back out. Again, I'm going to come straight down to echo that side and make a third spiral here to the side. Sometimes you might be able to work a little bit further in if your box is a little bit bigger. Sometimes the hook in the center of the spiral might be a little bit smaller because your starting shape was smaller. Now when I get here, I don't want to just keep going in a straight line. I like to kind of fill in my space. So I'm going to take this line down and then re-echo the shape here. Again, that adds movement, it adds more spiral to your spiral, and it allows you to maneuver your design in different directions. So from here, I'm going to create my new box to start and use the purple to work my way right back out again. Now from here, I've got a choice. I can kind of continue all the way around this box to fill in the space here, or I could bring the design down one more shape, which is what I'm going to do. And again, this is why I like to practice first, because it helps me figure out where that line is going to go without having to seam rip stitches or get a buildup of thread on the machine when my hands kind of freeze. So from here, I'm going to come out and I'm going to now be able to fill in this space up here. Go with up to this space. You can vary the shape or size of your squares to rectangles, to smaller, to bigger, however you want to do to work your way around. And again, now I have some choice. I can fill in here, I can move back up to the side, and that just helps my flow a little bit smoother. This one's a little bit more rectangular in the spiral, which I like, that variety. I'm going to back up on itself and kind of put one in here. Again, a little more rectangular. I'm going to echo this one all the way down. And you can kind of offset your squares, your spirals, so that that break is not always in the same place. That helps the design have a little more movement to it without really changing anything about how you're stitching. And you may start to notice that all your hooks start going in the same direction. I'm going to work my way up here, so I've kind of followed the line up this way, and then I can fill in up here. And add to that design. Just going to keep going with the purple pen now. I'm not going to worry too much if my lines are a little bit crooked on pen and paper, but that is something you'll want to pay attention to once you actually get to the sewing machine to stitch. If your lines get a little bit narrow on each other, that's okay. Just try to keep them spaced evenly as you continue around. Now here, there's kind of a funky direction. I could go left or right. And so you may find yourself coming over and then realizing you've hit an edge. So you just put a little extra bit of like a maze curve here, a line, and then just go right into your next shape. Sometimes those little extra hooks help you fill in the gaps on the edges of a shape or the edge of your quilt to come together. So once you feel that you have the flow of square spirals well in hand, if you still need a little bit more practice, you can always draw. You see I've got this column of lines here. This is about the same width of the design on our quilt square for the block of the month and where we're adding these free motion spirals. So once I kind of figure out how the design flows, I like to give myself, this is the size of the shape I need to fill in my actual stitching. And so that will help me keep the design contained and give me a better idea of how I need to work back and forth to fill this space and not leave any gaps. So we'll start just up here. I like to kind of come in from a side or one of the border edges that have already been stitched on the design. And so in a smaller space, my spirals will probably end up being a little bit smaller so that I can fit more of them in, because I like that density and the texture that comes with free motion quilting. So then I'm going to come down this way and bring my spiral over. You can kind of move left to right here if you like to fill that space evenly. You may find that when you bring your line down, you kind of come back over and leave a little extra space that's unfilled. Don't worry about it. As you make your shape, you can always come back up and echo this side. And create a little filler hook there. To work your way around. Vary up the shape a little bit with this little bit of a rectangular spiral. And then I'm going to go back up to fill in this space. By varying the size of your square or your rectangles, again, it gives you a little bit of variety into your design, into your details. Once you feel comfortable with pen and paper, with filling in the size of your shape, you can move and take your design to the sewing machine. If you still need a little bit of practice or you're a little bit hesitant about putting it into your final block, use a practice sandwich, just a top batting and backing of fabric, and test your spirals on that practice sandwich first, and then that'll help build your confidence in getting it to your final block design.